Hey, so ever wonder what it would be like having your own personal Japanese tutor? Well, in this interview, I interviewed Rina, a YouTube influencer and a Japanese language teacher on Italki. So in this interview, she shares with us some of the struggles that Japanese learners go through, how to overcome them, and what it's really like teaching Japanese to students online. So if you want to know what it's really like teaching Japanese as a Japanese teacher online, then please smash that like button for the sushi gods of YouTube. All right, everyone. So today we have a very special guest joining us. This person has a passion for education and for teaching Japanese. Not only that, but she is an influencer on YouTube. Rina, thank you so much for joining us. Really appreciate your time.
Oh, thank you so much. Thank you so much. I'm Rina.
Thank you, Rina. So for those of us who might not know about you, if you could just tell us a little bit about yourself first, that would be great.
Of course, I'm Rina. I'm living in Tokyo. I'm an Italki teacher, which is an online learning website, if you know that. And also, I have a YouTube channel, RinaBerry chan. Thank you for having me today.
Yeah, thank you for coming on.
Mm.
Appreciate it. So, Rina, I'm curious, as a Japanese teacher, I'm curious for what are like kind of, if someone is first starting out learning Japanese,
Mm.
what do you think the three biggest obstacles are in learning Japanese?
I think so. The first thing is that Japanese writing system, and the second thing is conjugation, and third thing is that Japanese is one of high context language. So the first and the second is very
Yeah,
beginners difficulties they might encounter first. Like Japanese writing system, you know how many there are?
three, right?
Yes, three. Yes, hiragana, katakana, kanji,
Kanji.
and then and textbook often the first and the second chapters they often have the Romaji writings like a Romaji writing alphabet
Yeah,
readings. Yeah, and then they often rely on using them and can't step up just by
I see.
reading hiragana. It's a big obstacle, I think. Then mm, they need to force themselves to read hiragana, katakana.
Okay, and I'm
Mm,
curious, like to overcome these three obstacles that you just talked about, what do you think is a good way to practice to overcome these
mm.
obstacles?
I think you just need to force yourself to read. I also have the same experience by learning Chinese. Chinese, all in kanji, right?
Ah,
And
yeah, that's right.
oh, and then I have pinyin. It's also the alphabet reading. And then when I first started learning, they all have alphabet readings. Then the
Hmm.
second book suddenly all disappeared. I was so left behind. I actually
Oh
quit
gosh.
learning at that point for like 3 months.
Oh wow.
Yeah. So I also understand what it's like when you lose Romaji
Hmm.
readings, but I think you need to just force yourself to read. Then once you overcome, you can be proud of yourself. Mm.
Yeah, I definitely agree with you. Just like pushing yourself and having that
Mm.
discipline to go through with something. I think that's very
Sorry, it's
important.
lagging. Yes.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah, having that self-discipline I think is very important to have, like you said. That's a
Mm.
really that's great advice. Thank you for that.
Yeah. Also, the second, the conjugation. You also commented on one of my video, the verb conjugation one.
Yeah.
You're like, oh, how many forms Japanese have? What's the final form? Yeah, I also think it's difficult. You meant the final form, like in what way? Was it a joke or
Well, it's kind
you
of like a
thought
joke.
there's
You know
a
how it's kind of a joke, like for in Dragon Ball, how they have like the Super Saiyan final form. I see. What's the final form for Japanese?
I see, Anna. So actually, so verbs and adjectives has many conjugations depending on if you were talking about the past or future, and if you're talking to superior person, then it can be overwhelming. To overcome, I think you need to find a native speaker
Hmm.
to practice with. Then they can help you. For example, if you know the dictionary form, like oishi,
Yeah.
then yummy, right? Then yesterday I ate sushi and it is yummy, it is yummy. Then the teacher immediately help you. It was yummy. Oishikatta.
You were saying before that for verb conjugations, because there's so many different forms, the
Mm-mm.
best way to kind
Mm.
of overcome this problem is to have a teacher help you go through it so they know in what situation to use what tense and to use what kind of like honorific language you should use. Is that
Mm.
right?
Yeah, exactly. Like that. It will be fun way and fastest way, rather than you try to remember reading textbook over and over.
Yeah, I
Mm.
definitely agree with you, especially because
Mm.
it has that element of communication with another
Mm.
person. So it's a lot easier to remember that way.
Mm.
That's definitely true.
Yeah, right. So the third thing, understanding that Japanese is a high context language. Um, Many people say Japanese is always like a value and not saying their opinions clearly. Like
Yeah.
those culture affects to the language themselves as well. So that in Japanese language we often drop the subject,
Hmm.
so that many foreigners get confused. What are they talking about? What
Yeah,
are
that's
they
true.
asking? Hmm, do you have the experience too? Like, oh,
Yes, yes,
mm,
definitely for that. So I'm
mm,
curious because like you said in Japanese, the subject is often dropped.
mm,
If someone is just starting out learning Japanese, what's one way to get over that
mm,
obstacle?
I think you just need to interact with Japanese people and see the pattern. If they say like, "I'm hot," it's hot. Sorry, it's hot. Then you can ask them, "Oh, do you want me to turn on the air conditioner?" So
Mhm.
you always need to be conscious about the behind the scene of what they really trying to say
I
behind the
see.
sentence.
Yeah, I definitely agree with you. Just like learning from someone else and mimicking them, that's definitely also a great way to do that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Uh, mhm. And
And
please try
yeah,
not to be so afraid to take a mistake, make mistakes.
yeah,
That's the key.
that is definitely true. Don't be afraid to make
Mm.
mistakes when you're speaking, because even when you're speaking with someone else, even if it's not perfect, you're still communicating with that person.
Mm. Right, right, exactly. Whoa.
Yeah,
You are also a teacher.
uh,
I feel this.
yeah, and I'm curious though. So kind of going in the opposite direction. Since you're a Japanese teacher, what kind of problems do you face when teaching Japanese to Japanese language learners?
Mm. I think it's not a big problem, but because I really want to help and
Yeah.
support their journey of learning. But I think making the sorry, outside is really loud.
No
Oh wait.
worries.
Yeah. So making the most comfortable room for them to speak is
Mhm.
the key, and I think it's it's my task to I should do, and it's not teaching the language itself, but making a comfortable room is also part of my job, I think, and let them to use their vocabulary maximally.
Mhm.
Like for example, there's a word "sentakusuru," washing
Mhm.
clothes. It's a specific word, but instead of using that difficult word, you could say "fuku o arau," wash clothes.
Okay.
That so that I want to encourage them to use their vocabulary maximally. To that's the problem of me. How to make a comfortable room for them.
Okay, I
Uh,
understand for that.
mm, mm,
But yeah, I definitely agree with that too, because
mm,
like you said, especially if you're a teacher, then
mm,
it's not only helping that your students study for a test or for an exam or whatever it is, it's also about setting up that atmosphere and making that relationship, that good relationship with your students. That's very important. So I 100%
yeah.
agree with you on that.
Oh, thank you. Ah, so true. You also are teaching at school, right?
Yeah, that's right.
Japanese people often intimidated and being really shy, so that need to be open and make a comfortable room is the key.
Yeah, exactly. Because I think the most important thing first is communication and relationship with your students. Next is kind of like the like learning vocabulary or learning grammar structures, but that's secondary, I think.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, I'm so glad I get to
Yeah,
talk to you.
same
Oh,
here.
thank
Thank
you.
you.
Hmm.
And I'm curious then, for yourself then, if you're studying Japanese as a Japanese learner, what do you think is the most important thing, like the number one most important thing as a Japanese learner?
Uh, Definitely listening. Lots listening, but in a fun way. Like
Okay.
if you have some anime you like, or music or podcast you like, you need to listen a lot because I personally learn linguistics, like watch so many
Mm-hmm.
linguistics videos and read books, and they often say you don't need to learn grammars, but you acquire grammar as well, which I don't agree with them completely because sometimes you need to study grammar. It can be a booster,
Yeah.
but by listening a lot and lots, you will suddenly know the grammatical pattern. So that listening is not just the pronunciation practice or listening practice, but also the grammatical points also come to you. And the words, listening is shower of the words, I
Yeah.
believe. You don't understand them all the words by one, but by the context, you will know that. So that listening is the most efficient and the fastest. Mm, I recommend it the most. Yes.
Yeah, that's really
Mm,
great advice for that, especially for listening, because if
mm,
you hear the same grammar structure or the
mm,
same form over and over again, even if you haven't studied it, you'll probably
mm.
pick it up eventually.
Right. No, totally agree. Like even the word, mm, if you watch some anime and the different anime, something
Yeah.
appeared and the brain matches those two up, and you will experience the aha.
Yeah, like the
Mm,
aha moment.
aha
Yeah.
moment, right?
I definitely
Mm,
agree with you. I'm curious though,
mm,
like when it comes to listening, you
mm.
said you could listen to anime or anything like that, but is there a specific form of listening that you would recommend? For example, watching TV or listening to music or listening to a
Ah,
podcast. What's the best kind of
mm.
method to do that?
Ah, I think what I personally try is when I'm studying Italian right now.
Wow.
Uh, I watched um, my favorite anime in English first, and then I already know the storyline and what they said. I remember them because I really like the anime. Then second time I watch it in Italian. Then
Okay.
I also remember the phrases. So I think it's the good way. And even though I'm not actually listening, like I'm cleaning, but you can turn on the podcast and then unconsciously interact with that language. It can be
Yeah.
helpful too.
Yeah, I definitely agree with you on that. That's kind of like the same thing I do with Japanese as well.
Huh.
Yeah, because like for example, I for myself, I kind of like the anime Dragon Ball, for example, right? So
Yeah.
I kind of know the storyline in English
Mm,
already. So I'll watch it in Japanese first, the
mm.
actual video. Then afterwards, I'll actually kind of import the audio as an MP3. And then if I'm driving or anything, I'll just listen to it, the storyline as well.
You know that, right? What they are talking about because somehow you remember it and you don't need to read the subtitles because you already know the story.
Yeah,
And
exactly. Yeah,
that's
so
nice
I,
way.
yeah, so I think that's a really good method that you recommended. So thank you for
Mm.
that. That's
Oh, thank you.
fantastic. And
Mm.
so next, I'm curious because you said you're a teacher on Italki, is that right?
Yes, right. Italki, yes.
So can you tell us what is it like being a teacher on
Mm.
Italki?
Ah, yeah. It's like how it works or how
Yeah,
I feel.
both actually,
Both.
how it works and how you
Mm.
feel about being a teacher on that
Ah,
platform.
so on that website, you get to find um, community teacher or professional teacher. If you need grammatical help or the planned out lesson plans,
Yeah.
then you need a professional teacher. But if you just want to interact with a native speaker, then you can choose community teacher. And I
Mhm.
am a community teacher so far because I don't have the certificate. I'm studying for it. I'm
Oh,
taking the
really?
exam to become a professional teacher.
Wow, that's
Yes.
fantastic.
Thank
Well,
you. I
good
try my
luck.
best. Yeah, thank you. But yeah, on that website, you get to find a teacher and their schedule. You will get to see their schedule, and if they matches your price and the time, you
Okay.
can book them. And on Skype or Zoom or Italki Classroom, they also have the platform to do the video chat. You
Okay.
can choose whatever you want
Oh, that's
and
really
talk.
interesting. So
Mm,
for iTalki, you can either
mm,
use the iTalki video platform itself, or
mm.
you also said you can use something like Skype, for example, as well.
Yes, Skype or Zoom
Oh,
or
okay.
WeChat, the Chinese one.
Oh, that's very interesting. And
Yeah.
so I'm curious for you then, as an italki teacher, how
Mm.
hard is it to kind of get students? Because I'm sure there's a lot of different teachers on that
Ah,
platform as well.
right. When I first started, I set my price lowest, like I think $8 per an hour,
Hmm.
and more I got the students, and I gradually put my money up. But before that, it was really hard to find students. But I think Japanese is very popular language on that website, so I didn't have much no problem at all. When I started the teacher as a part-time job, I still got the students even though it was limited time after my school.
Oh wow, that's
Mm,
fantastic. Well, you're so charismatic and so energetic. I can see why it'll
Wow,
be so easy for you to get
no,
students.
thank you.
Oh, it's
Uh,
true though.
I really enjoy. Um, I actually wrote down. I have students from America, England, Korea, China, Taiwan,
Wow.
Brazil, Ireland, Denmark, and France, and Chile, Israel. So
Wow,
many.
so
And
many different countries.
yeah, right. Every students I have, they have different reason why they started
Hmm.
learning Japanese, and their process is different too. Like people learning from this book or this anime or this website,
Okay.
everyone different, and I really enjoy seeing it.
Well, that's great to hear. I'm curious. So, do you have any customers or that are from Canada by any chance?
Canada, ah, I had one, but not anymore.
Ah,
He got so busy now. With the same name, Brandon.
really?
Yeah.
Small world
Mm.
then.
Yes. Is it a popular name in Canada, maybe?
It
Brandon?
was a
I can
popular name in like the
worldwide.
1990s. Yeah.
I see. Good
Uh,
name.
I see.
Yeah.
So, no Canadian customers right now, though. Ah,
No, not
sad.
currently. Oh, wait. I also had one who's Canadian but
Yeah,
came to Japan and was living in Tokyo.
in Tokyo. Oh, wow. That's
But not
fantastic then.
anymore.
Ah,
My student keep changing. Um,
fair
yeah,
enough. So,
sometimes.
yeah. Sorry, go ahead.
Oh, thank you. Sometimes, like people come back to me and suddenly tell me, "Oh, hello, long time no see, Rina. I actually passed the N too after a
Wow.
while." Like that, and I'm so happy. They suddenly come back and tell me their effort and what they achieved after the
Mhm.
lessons.
Oh, wow,
Mm,
that's great. And
mm,
so I'm curious, kind of like going back to the teacher side of italki, then if
mm.
a teacher is just getting started out on the italki platform, what kind of advice would you give them?
Ah, to get uh, the on the website they have the introduction video so that making attractive video is one.
Hmm.
Also secondary, you need to open the schedule as much as possible, because if it's limited like
Yeah.
on Monday on this hour, Tuesday only 3 hours, then students have to check their schedule. But if it's open like 8 to 9, like
Yeah.
8 to 7, then it's more attractable teacher it will be.
Okay.
Also, leaving the feedback also work.
Hmm.
After the lesson, you can encourage them by writing good feedback.
Oh, okay, so you mean the students leave feedback for the teacher, right?
Right. It's vice versa.
Oh, okay, yeah, I think that's a really good method too. It's kind of like Amazon. When you see the Amazon reviews, it's like, oh, okay, this teacher looks pretty
Like
good. Let's
that.
try it.
Mm.
Yeah, I
Recommend to
definitely
each
agree.
other. Yes, encourage them each other.
Yeah, I
It can
definitely
be
agree.
good motivation for both of us, I think.
Oh yeah, definitely for that.
Mm.
And so I'm just curious for italki,
Mm.
in terms of I guess the salary or payment. So
Mm.
is it you set your own payment to whatever you want? Is that correct?
Yes, correct. That's correct. But I'm living in Tokyo, but still I get to pay by dollars. So when you exchange the your salary, be mm, you need to be cautious about the exchange rate.
Okay.
So last year, I think because of the COVID dollar prices was
That's true.
so I hold it for like 6 months till it go up.
Okay, so you held it in your account for 6 months, then you transferred it over to yen
Yes,
after.
right.
That's a smart idea.
Also, I Italki get some a commission fee as well. I think it was 15%, and
Okay.
transfer it to the bank. Also need
Yeah.
to pay extra commission fee, and it can be lower than you think. So you need to consider how much you
Mm,
exactly get from the lesson per
okay.
1 hour.
That's very interesting. So for italki, they take a
Mhm.
percentage. You said around 15%.
I think it was 15%. Compared with the other platforms, it's lower than that.
Okay.
It's very good deal.
And then afterwards, you also have to be careful about the exchange rate as well, correct?
Yes, correct. Like PayPal or
Yeah.
Payoneer, you need to pay the commission fee or exchanging rate fee, right? Mm.
Okay. And so I'm curious, like for italki then, so are the taxes automatically like taken out as well?
No, you need to report tax every year.
Oh,
Income
okay, I
tax.
see.
It's confusing. So it seems like you got a lot, but in the end of the year,
Yeah.
you calculate it and they take your money out.
Okay, that's very interesting.
Mm,
So I think that's really good advice, especially
mm,
for someone who wants to start out on italki. Thank
mm.
you for sharing your experience with that. I appreciate it.
Oh, you're welcome. Thank you so much. I learned so much from you today as
Thank you.
well.
So if it's
Mm,
okay, just so one last thing, quick
yeah,
speed round.
yeah.
So, so just the first answer that comes into your head,
Mhm.
just say it out loud. What's your favorite food?
Food, sushi,
And favorite singer?
singer. Oh, I don't have favorite singer actually. Who was it? I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I don't have any favorite
Or
singer.
group, band, like One OK
Group
Rock,
band. Ah,
Ayumi Hamasaki.
Hamasaki Ayumi. Yeah, I do like
That's
her. Or
okay.
Yuki.
That's a good
Mm,
choice.
mm,
Nice
mm, mm,
taste.
mm.
If you could be any animal, what animal would you be and why?
Oh, I want to be white bear.
Okay, white bear. Why do you want to be a white bear?
Because I really like the ice cold. But if I lie down as a human, you
Yeah,
might burn yourself. But if I were a white bear, then I'm free to lay down on the cool ice.
fair enough. Thank you for that. Well,
Yeah.
Rina, thank you so much for your time and thank you for coming on today.
Mm.
I really appreciate your time.
Oh, thank you so much for having me today. I really enjoyed. It was great. Nice to meet you.
Yeah, you too. You as well. And I'm curious, if people want to follow you and find you, where can they find you at?
On Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube channel, and Italki. Four.
All right. And what's your YouTube channel?
My YouTube channel is RinaBerry Cham.
Okay, you heard it, RinaBerry Chan. So I'll leave the link in the description box down below.
Oh,
So if you enjoyed this interview, then please follow Rina. She's fantastic. She's the
thank
best teacher
you.
ever. And Rina, once again, thank you so much for coming on, and I hope you have a great day.
Oh, thank you so much. You too.
So let me know what your biggest takeaway from this video was in the comment section down below. And if you want to follow Rina, then I'll leave the link so you can do that in the description box down below as well. And finally, if you're going to be learning Japanese, you need to have the energy to do that, which is why I recommend Japan Candy Box. With Japan Candy Box, you get exclusive Japanese snacks sent directly to your door no matter where you are in the world. So, if you want to have energy while you're studying Japanese, then please click on the link down below and get free worldwide shipping on all your Japan Candy Box orders. And until next time everyone, stay waku waku.